Big boy golf. We are not going Finooey.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, no, you're going
Can't-
Finooey.
You caught me by surprise there. I like it.
Are we still hating on him? He shot a 64 on Sunday. Come on.
Yep. we're
No,
still hating on
it's
him.
not
Bro.
about.
Absolutely.
It's not about hate.
It's not about hate, but
the
he
guy's a
melted
great
again.
golfer.
Yeah.
He
I mean,
melted
he's a
again.
sweetheart. We love him. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Everybody loves
he
him.
melted. Technically, it was a melt. I'll give you a melt. But he shot a
Technically,
64.
He did.
He shot a 64.
Ron,
But that's Finooey.
Ron,
It's
Ron,
so Finooey.
do not say technically a melt. It was a full-blown fucking meltdown.
No.
Wait a second.
Ron, he
Shot a
he missed the putt
64.
on 18. No, he hit the putt on 18. He had every opportunity. He melted.
No,
You're,
hold on,
you're
hold on.
expecting
Let-
perfection.
Hold on a
Here's the
second.
definition
It's
of Finooey.
golf.
Here's the definition of Finooey, in my opinion. He did just enough to get second place.
3 in a row.
That's
I
what he
still
does.
love
He took the lead coming down 18, and as soon as he took the lead, he put it right. He couldn't put it next to the pin to give himself a chance. He didn't.
All
He
right.
blew that
They couldn't
6
do it.
foot. He
Well,
blew that
I'm
6
sure-
footer for the win. 6 footer for
I'm
the win.
sure.
2. He had one on 10 on the playoff when Homa put it on the tree,
Yep.
and then he did it again. He had another putt to push another playoff hole, and he missed that.
I
that
mean, mad
little guy.
props to Homo with that shot on the tree.
That was ridiculous.
Amazing.
Ridiculous.
man.
All right, let's get into it. Come on.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Let's go. All right. So you ready for this? We have the World Golf Championships Workday Championship at the concessions. It is the worst name of a golf tournament. I hope the tournament itself is not a direct representation of the title of this place, because it'll be a goddamn mess if it is.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Who picked the title?
Well, I think what they're working off of is they normally do the World Golf Championships in Mexico, and then I guess Workday steps in and they want a little Workday Championships, and then it's at the concessions, which it's it's terrible. I can't. I'm not defending it.
Plural does not seem to fit correctly, but moving along.
Yeah.
Quick recap from last week. What a week, dude. When people got to get on board, man. I mean, we are smashing
Get on board.
126 unit week. Homa outright. Lots of other bets hit. Matchups were glorious. Absolutely crushed 3 out of the 4 days of matchups. I mean, let's go. 126 units.
And we started pretty terribly. It looked pretty bad. Looked pretty bad on Thursday.
I mean, a lot of the big guns, faded out pretty quick in this thing. And I did mention that last week. I didn't pick any winners in my personal bets, but I did say I didn't love some of the big names with some of their odds. But we still had a handful of guys up there. I mean, it wasn't only Homa. We still had a few other guys that were tickling around, as we always do.
Yeah, we were really all over the board, and like George said, after day one, I was in a dark place. We just missed. Freddie was going ham on Twitter with his Homa first round leader, and Burns burned us with that. And he just seemed to burn us that whole first day. It just felt so awful. We lost, I think it was 17 units in matchups, which is just a miserable matchup day. Our 2 biggest bets, JT and Bryson, were like 5 and 6 over par or something crazy like that. And we were in a dark place, but then we bounced back. We had a 19 unit matchup day on Friday, 10 units Saturday, 14 units on Sunday. We hit a couple top 20s in Naismith and Wyndham Clark.
Wait a second. Is that how you say his last name? Naismith?
It's not Neesmith.
God.
No, I think it's Naismith.
You
I actually now I don't know. I mean,
I think it's
I don't know.
Neesmith.
I mean, I have no idea, but I generally.
Well,
see-
either way, he paid us a solid 10 units, hitting
God
the top
bless him.
20, sneaking in. By the way, let me just another quick note. Ricky Fowler with a quiet, sneaky top 20. Top
I saw
20,
that.
Ricky. Yeah. And then we also hit Cockrack. I don't think that's how you say it, but Cockrack.
Cockrack.
Cokey cock. I gotta say cock.
AKA the cock.
Yeah, I found myself going, I need cock all weekend, and that was just a weird thing to say. But
Oh,
but he was hanging in there, and then he finally fell apart. And then Cam Smith hit us a top 5, 25 units. And then, of course, Homa.
Boom.
What a performance out of Homa. Love the guy. Cali kid crying on the 8th after he won. George, I know you were probably crying too.
I get very
Can I just
childhood
say one-
dream.
Can I
Unreal.
just say one thing about Homa that I loved? When he hit it behind the tree on the first shot in the playoff, most people would walk up to that and be like distraught, like visually upset. He walked up to it and laughed with his caddy. He had a smile on his face.
Imagine John Rahm in that situation.
He would have broke the tree in half.
He would have been like, he would have had his hand all over his face, like, God, I can't believe I hit a shot that didn't go in the fairway. It's never happened to me before. What
He'd
am I
throw
gonna
his hands up in
do?"
the air and look at some spectator like it was his fault. He'd be like,
Cursing in Spanish.
Yeah, Homa's a stud. I love him.
Punta madre.
You
So-
know John Rahm learned English by listening to rap music? Did you know that?
"Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense."
It's a weird
I
thing.
love it.
That's why he's angry.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I think
I wonder
so.
who
All
his
right, so-
favorite rapper is.
So huge week. Moving to the concession. So I really like this course. I know we haven't played here much. Have we played here at all, Rock, or is this brand new?
No, I don't believe the PGA Tour has ever played here. There was in 2015, the NCAA championships were here. So that's what, 5-6 years ago, and that was Bryson won it. He beat CT Pan. I believe the only other guy in the top 10 in that tournament that is in this field was Thomas Dietrich, played for Illinois. But Bryson won. And so he's got a little bit of history here, but I think it's going to be a lot different. I think it's going to be hard.
I love the layout and the numbers that I'm looking at. So, as we said, new place. It's usually down in Mexico, but we're here at the concession. So 7,400 plus yards on Bermuda greens. As you noted, we have a large par 5 here. I think it's right around 600 yards. We have a huge par 3 course here. So our long proximity is going to be big. You're going to talk about that in a second. But I don't see this being, and again, we'll talk about it, but I don't see this being a place where you're going to see some no name come up, because this is a challenging ass course with length and a lot of trouble. And you're going to have somebody that comes out of this thing that is pretty well rounded and, a pretty solid fairway gainer from what I was looking at. So
Yeah.
Rock, break us down. You know what? I didn't do our intros. I'll do the intros real quick. So
Okay.
we got Stormy Georgie, as always, giving us
Present.
our weather updates. And we got Freddie, Donnie Dick. How you doing, Freddie?
Doing great, man.
Giving us
Doing
our
great.
social media coverage, which there's a lot of it today, and we do have to talk about that quickly in a minute. And we have, as always, Big Rock with the stat model and the course breakdown. So let's go to the course breakdown. We'll get to Tiger in a second, but hit me up with what we're looking at stat wise and what we like this week.
All right. It's a Jack Nicklaus design course. It's concession. We're in Florida, about an hour south of the Tampa area. 7,474 yards. It's a small field this week, so that's just something to keep in mind. It's only 72 players. Bermuda greens. I looked through every hole on the course, and there's a lot of trouble on this course if you're spraying it. So it's something to me that I'm looking at is definitely, fairways gained. There's water like seemingly on every hole. Tons of bunkers and undulation and weird spots, and it just looks like a treacherous course. The par 3s, like you mentioned, super long. 3 of them I think are over 220 yards. Which has to be annoying to me. That's a drivable par 4. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a big factor this week. I'm looking at ball striking, because whenever I look at a course that people don't know that well and that seems to be difficult, I think, what do you want? You want the ball strikers. You want the guys that are consistent with their swing and sticking as close as they can. I put a little sand save in my model, a little around the green. I think there's going to be a lot of laying up. I don't think distance is going to be too valuable because I mean there are some holes where if you bomb it out there it gives you an advantage, but I think a lot of times to stay out of trouble you just have to be sure you're hitting the fairway more than hitting the distance.
What about real quick? I just want to ask about
Yeah.
there's a few par 4 dog legs that you could cut. You think pretty much everybody will be able to do that, or is that really only going to be the bombers?
No, I mean it's hard to tell exactly, but I was looking at like most of those in that situation was like a 300-yard drive. So, I don't think the short hitters are going to be able to
Yeah.
do that, but you don't have to be like the Brysons is the only person that's going to be doing it. I think,
Right.
all those top-notch driving guys are going to be able to do that.
Yeah, the upper half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I looked at approach. I think it's a second shot golf course, like I just said. I think you got to get it out in the fairway and you got to stick your approach. Most of the approaches for me were 150 to 175, so I weighed that in. I'm looking at a lot of things. I'm looking at Nicklaus guys that perform on Nicklaus courses. I'm looking at guys that putt well on Bermuda. A lot of off the bat. A lot of the things that I'm saying scream Webby to me because Webby loves to hit fairways and he loves Bermuda.
We love us some Webby.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not a short hitter. I mean, you heard Tesori on our podcast a couple weeks ago say that he's stronger than he's ever been right now. He's not this little rinky dink fairway finder. Like he's not the Jim Furyk or Brendan Todds of the world. But so I'm looking at guys like that. I think you got to get after these par fives. Two of them are medium, one bomb and one gettable. It's going to be tricky. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a beautiful course to watch, I think, on TV. Like I said, lots of water, green grass, Florida weather. It's going to be nice.
Speaking of weather, the Florida weather is going to be absolutely perfect. This is like why we all go to Florida in the wintertime. Thursday, 75, 5 to 10 mile per hour winds. Friday, 81, 5 to 10 mile per hour winds. Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. So a little bit more of a breeze will just help to cool them down because it's going to be 83 degrees. It's beautiful golf weather.
As far as heavy favorites, we have a few again this week. I'm looking at Dustin 6 to 1, Rahm 8.5 to 1, Xander 12 to 1, Cantlay's 16, Rory 16.5. Our boy Tony 18 to 1. So I don't see a huge opportunity here with some of these guys because again, these odds are so low. They're so low. And looking at our model, somebody that jumped off to me, and I'm sure you're going to agree, is Morikawa. I mean, he's number 1 in our model, and I'm seeing him at 46.5 to 1. I mean, that's a huge difference and a huge value over a 6 or an 8.5 to 1 out of Rahm or DJ. And Colin's that kind of guy. I mean, he's, granted he's had his fair share of issues lately, but this kind of fits his style too. I mean, irons all day, approaches.
Yep, he's a second shot kind of guy when he's on. And just to allow me to segue here real quick, in my opinion, the only person in modern history of golf. Ooh, nice. That sounded delicious, Rock. What do you got there?
Oh, yeah. Flying Embers.
Is that the black cherry? That's what I'm drinking now, too.
Is there anything else?
Oh, it's so tasty. But what I was about to say is the only person, in my opinion, who I would ever consider at odds like 6.5 to 1 is Mr. Eldridge Tiger Woods. And that is my segue.
It's Eldrick.
Right. I cannot wait anymore to talk about this. The man was in a serious car accident.
Let's talk about it.
This morning, he was in Palos Verdes, which is right by the Trump country club over there. It's a beautiful area. He was in ironically enough, a Genesis, which makes a lot of sense. I'm sure it was a courtesy car for him for his California stay, whatever he was doing out here. Apparently, some people saw him leaving a hotel upset, driving quickly. That's one person's account, so we'll see if that's actually true or not. And it looks like the car flipped off the road We don't know if it flipped over, but it was on its side. The front was completely destroyed. He was pulled out of the car. They said that he was lucid and that so far as we know, not under the influence of anything, and that he had quote unquote serious leg injuries.
Leg fractures, yeah.
Did it say fractures? Someone said fractures?
I did see a report that said multiple leg fractures, yeah.
I mean, if it's serious leg injuries, what else is it going to be? Yeah. It's not like it's going to be cuts from a freaking car accident. It looks terrible. I don't know. I'm super. The second I saw that, I got super anxious. I freaking love me some Tiger Woods. We all want to see him come back and dominate again. Everybody loves someone that can just crush a sport like he has. And this is just such a heartbreaking setback.
I don't know if it's because we're not that far removed from Kobe being in California early on in the year, if the reaction from so many people was more emotional because that was still kind of fresh, and Kobe is probably as close to an equivalent that we'll get in another sport. As far as basketball, you're talking MJ and Kobe, and that's the closest you're going to get. So there was a lot of emotion today. We talked about this earlier. We don't want to speculate on anything that could or could not possibly be, because let's be honest, right now, there could be one of probably 1,000 different situations that caused that to happen. So we're not going to try to guess what happened, but I thought it was very telling to see the amount of quick support when the news came out, genuine support and worry for him and his family. Dude, this dude is loved by everybody. You can disagree with some of the choices that he's made in his life, but it is super crazy to see how so many people just love this guy. Thinking about it, saying that he's probably the most well-known sports figure that grew up in our technologically advanced time in our lives. You think of Michael Jordan when he came in through the 80s, it wasn't like when Tiger did it. Like when Tiger came up in the 90s and everything, things were a lot different with how information got out, how we followed things. So I feel like Tiger is one of those guys where everybody knows his story. Everybody grew up watching him, knowing everything that he was going through. And there's just a different connection, it seems like, with him. Let's be honest. This dude has been through a lot in his life. We all watched the documentary, a lot of mixed emotions on that. But when something like this happens, you really see how people feel about somebody. And let's be honest, this is an opportunity where some people might come out and be like, well, he's done this and he's done this, so he's just, sleeping in the bed that he made for himself. And I haven't seen anybody say anything like that. It's been nothing but love and support, which is awesome.
Ron, I 100% agree with everything you said. I will say it was eye-opening for me, just to realize how much of an impact he's had on my life personally. I mean, when it happened and the news came out, I was like immediately devastated. And I would never have thought that it would have hit me as hard as it did. And I mean, again, it was the car accident, like what's going on. And I immediately almost went to tears thinking about like his son. And I know it sounds almost fake, but it was like, wow, this is crazy. And it made me realize how much, exactly what you said, how much of an impact he has had on not just the sport, but on people. And watching Twitter and social media react to what was going on in live time, it was everybody was just exactly what happened with Kobe. It was like, you don't realize the impact these people have until something like this happens. And it's awesome to have it happen, and hopefully he'll come out of it and be okay. And everybody can realize how important he is to everybody and the sport itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, something you just said that struck me was the father aspect of it. I immediately started thinking about that tournament he just played a few weeks back with his son, and like the smile on their face and how much fun they were having, and how he was saying it was so important to him that Charlie had fun in the tournament. And you could see that kid ripping, hitting shots that were incredible, and like almost acting like a Tiger Woods. And he's on a different level. I mean, he really is. He impacts us all, whether you're a golf fan or not. I mean, I'm a new golf fan just in the last 5 years, but Tiger Woods goes back the last 20 years for me, 25 years, where he impacted me, and like cheering for him, and Easter Sundays at the Masters and all U.S. Open playing on one leg, and just what he's done for the sport, and the sport that is now my favorite sport in the world. And it's amazing. And like Ron said, like, you could make mistakes all day long, but like, you know, I know I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to live that life and be in that scrutiny. Like, so I give him a lot of credit to be able to get through life under that much pressure. And yeah, you know, people make mistakes, and you know, we saw that documentary, and like Ron said, we didn't, it's a little, I don't know, there's some things about that documentary I didn't love, but I love me some Tiger, and I really hope he you know, I'm thinking about his kids and his family today, and I really hope he gets better. And if anybody's gonna get better and come out of this, it's Tiger Woods. I mean, the guy is unreal.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
I was going to say that, you know, I'm really, we've said this a number of times in this podcast, and I really hope that we're saying this again in like 8 weeks, which is beware the ill golfer. Like, you know, maybe for some reason, this accident will help his back in some way, or there's like some procedure they have to do that like helps him find some sort of some feel or something that he's lost. I was watching some video just recently of the TaylorMade team with him, Jason Day, and Rory McIlroy, where he was just talking about chipping and how much he's had to just change the way even he chips, hits out of a bunker, whatever, because he can no longer separate his lower half and his upper half. It has to move in unison. To think even just about that simple thing that I just said, which is everything in golf, you have to be able to separate your lower and upper half. It doesn't make any sense to me as a ex-baseball player and current golfer to not be able to like rotate separately and like start one earlier and have the other one follow or whatever. And to be able to say that and then have just one last year and still like playing elite golf is absolutely insane. The man is without question. Rock and I were just actually having a text conversation with a friend of ours. There is no athlete in the history of sports that has dominated in the way that Tiger Woods has dominated golf. None. I don't care what sport you're talking about. I don't care when you're talking about it. You can come on this podcast if you want to argue this point, and we will crush you with stats.
I was a pretty good bowler in high school.
You bowling in high school might be the only person we've seen that comes close.
For our listeners, that's actually 100% accurate. That's not a lie.
That's true. Yeah. And injured. Injury is what brought you down.
Yeah, it's true.
It's an age-old tale. But yeah, anyway, we're really rooting for Tiger. When he gets better, we'll have him on the podcast.
Maybe the first tournament back is Augusta. Who knows? That would be interesting.
That would be crazy.
What is that? That's
a month and a half away. I don't know.
Oh, that would be insane.
I mean, it depends what happened. Let's see.
So
let's see.
Going full circle on that, George, the point you were making was he's the only one that can really back up being a 4-1 favorite. I think back in the day, he was like friggin' almost even money on some tournaments.
He was actually negative money sometimes.
Insane. That's crazy.
Negative money sometimes.
That's crazy.
And probably you still should have bet him.
And this isn't the same kind of time. I mean, this, as good as some of these guys are, this is a carousel of winners every week. It just has to do with who catches heat, who finishes. I mean, I think we do an amazing job of predicting who's going to end up at the top of the board, as we've done week in and week out. But we don't see, with the exception of maybe DJ when he gets hot here and there, we don't see guys run the table, you know, month after month with multiple victories, you know, like we have back in the day. So I completely agree with you. Guys at 6-1, even 8-1. You know, in my opinion, you shouldn't see anybody in single digits in any of these tournaments with the amount of competition that they have. So, with that,
hey Ron,
being said,
quick question. I actually had this conversation with somebody else this morning. Like, will we ever have the chance to see anybody dominate like Tiger did? Like, it will never happen. There's too much talent to have it happen. Like, imagine, think about how many majors he won. And like, think about the time frame. Like, it would never happen. Think about all the talent that's around. It's near impossible to do it.
Charlie Woods.
Maybe
Let's go.
He might
that
honestly,
kid is a freak, man.
He might honestly be the only person. I mean, if you watch the documentary, Tiger Woods literally from the day he was born was being bred to do what he's been doing. The man walks differently on Sundays. Are you fucking kidding me? Nobody does this.
That's what I was just gonna say. The world that we live in now, that stuff doesn't really happen anymore. It's a different place.
LeBron's
we
close
don't
right now.
accept that in society anymore.
Don't
To
say
have that kind of parenting, to have that kind of demeanor with our young kids, it's not something that is liked a lot right now, and we all have our different opinions on it. I know I'm on the harder side with my kids. That's just kind of how I am, but we won't see anything like this again because of that fact. It's a looser time. Kids aren't pushed to that extreme like he was pushed at that age, and you could have talent all day. We talked about this last pod. It has to do when it comes down to fight and grit, and it
What's
has to do
between
with
the
that
ears?
sixth sense when it comes to
Totally.
grinding it out. That's a lot of guys don't have. We love Tony. He doesn't have it, obviously. You know, there's other guys, Xander Schauffele, maybe he just doesn't have that. These are great.
I mean,
great
Tiger Woods.
golfers.
Tiger Woods grew up with a Navy SEAL. Was it Navy SEAL? Right, Navy SEAL father and a Buddhist mother, and they were both like insanely headstrong. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like people don't get that sort of mentality built into them ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I will
think-
say we're seeing some goats right now, other goats in other sports. Tom Brady just won the Super Bowl for the seventh
true.
time. He's in his 10th Super
Tom
Bowl.
Brady.
Yep.
You know, LeBron is in the NBA Finals every year. I know it's a different sport at a different time, and
Yeah.
and I'm not in any way comparing him to Tiger, but you know, we are seeing it's a great time for sports right now. I don't,
true.
you know,
You could see a good. I think I see a correlation with those guys that you mentioned. They definitely have some crazy sides to them, competitive wise, and screw everybody. I'm going to do whatever I need to do right now attitude. So
yeah.
I
but
think
in
I
golf,
think golf's
in golf, I don't know if you'll ever
golf's-
see it.
Yeah, I agree. Golf's tougher. I mean, quarterbacks in NFL, there's a huge discrepancy between them. I don't see it. Golf is just there's so much talent, and again, it's like you said, it's between the ears. But guys find it on Sunday every now and then. Xander, DJ, Justin, but to do it consistently it's just I just find it impossible. I
And
don't see
George,
it
that's a
changing.
really good point you brought up, that he walks different on Sunday. He really does. Yeah, you see him in that red shirt, and it's a different human being. It's
Yeah.
a different guy.
Like
He
Intimidation.
walks taller. He strides longer.
Yeah,
It's
like who knows
completely
what he's doing at his house too? Like he's probably doing all this crazy shit on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday that we don't even know about. That's just like it's just like ridiculous. Like eating with his left hand or something. Who knows? It's just crazy.
Well, let's get him back. Let's get him back. Let's hopefully everything's good.
Long-winded way to say that we love you, Tiger, and we want you back, but
So this tournament's interesting because we like to weigh at least a little bit most of the time on past course performance. We don't have that at all here, so we're strictly going by our stat model. Like I said, I liked Morikawa finishing 1 in our model, and typically our model doesn't let us down. I mean, when you see guys come up very high on the stats that we believe are strong for the course this week, they generally perform. And for 46-1 or 46.5-1 for him to win, I like his top 10 is plus 335, which I also like too. That's a pretty solid number for him.
That's a real solid number. You got to remember, there's only 72 players in the field, so
disrespectful, really.
that kind of number, it really is. I agree. I mean, the idea that his top 10 is close to, it's only half of DJ's win equity. Like, I don't know. That's kind of
a
crazy
great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 2 other names that I liked along with that, who were right around the same odds, were Harris English, stats out very well for this place, and so does Scotty Scheffler as far as their their fairways and their approach, and they're all over their overall numbers here. And they were all right around that same 46-48-1 to win, and plus 330, plus 350 top 10. And English is a good putter on Bermuda. So we've seen him have some good rounds in the
You're
last.
getting me fired up to do some picks, talking up these stats
I
right
know.
now. Should we
Well,
get into this? Is that where we're going?
Well, does anybody else have anything they want to talk out? Because there's a few guys that I have interest in, and I obviously have to narrow it down. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Is there anybody that pops to you?
I mean, to me, the biggest disrespect I'm seeing in the odds market is Justin Thomas. I mean, he had a terrible week last week. He was number 1 in my model, and he completely shit the bed. It was one of the worst tournaments he's had in his career.
Got a lot going on.
He does. He has a lot going on, and now with the Tiger stuff, I know he's
Yeah.
very close to Tiger, but But I mean, he's a world-class, arguably the best player in the world.
Most talented.
Right. Most talented player in the world. And he's really good at what I think you need to do here. He's third in my model. And honestly, DJ, something looked off on DJ on Sunday. I don't know. He looked tired, or he just didn't look like.
Doesn't he always look tired?
Yeah, you're right. He does kind of always look tired, but just his shots. He wasn't on point. He wasn't that technical golfer that he normally is. And I don't know. JT at 20-1 screams like disrespect to me. Bryson too at 20-1.
I actually would stay away from him just for the pure fact of what's going on with Tiger, and watching his press conference today and having him break down. And it was just hard to watch. The guy was so emotional, as he should be. But that's a lot to carry. That's a lot to carry.
It's funny you say that, Freddie, because I was thinking the exact opposite. I was thinking
me too.
Somebody that has, and I think JT has a lot of fight in him. And when we talk about golfers that have that bit of grit, he gets very emotional at times out there and he gets fired up. I kind of looked at it as I could see him thinking in his head, with all this happening, he wants to play for him, which could see him kind of snap out of whatever little funk he's in.
You're doing your Phil Mickelson sell right now.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't even need that sell. I don't even need that sell. I already bet Justin Thomas at 20-1. It's on the grid. I already put it on the grid. I bet him 20-1. There's too much value, and he has, like Ron said, he has too much fight, too much heart. He's the kind of guy. There are certain guys that buckle under the pressure, and then there are certain guys that thrive under the pressure.
Reed
and Patrick Reed and Justin Thomas are those types of guys, and especially like big moment. He has that it factor. So I just thought that was interesting.
It doesn't scare you that he came back last week after the whole Ralph Lauren first time back? And I mean,
that wasn't the first time. He went overseas before that.
I know he played overseas, but coming back,
his grandfather died. His grandfather died.
He's got a lot going on. I mean, I don't know. I agree. I don't see it not happening, but I just think there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on for anybody. Yeah, I would love to see him when I like Justin Thomas.
Here's what we do know: if he does have a conversation with Tiger Woods, which he probably will between now and tee time, we all know what Tiger's going to tell him.
What does Tiger say? What does he say to him?
Walk slow.
He's going to say,
Sunday.
No, that's not what I was thinking.
He's going to say, wear red on Sunday. I totally agree.
Wear red. All right. If he talks to Tiger, I'll bet him.
Can you imagine? That just gave me a chill a little bit.
Me too.
God damn it.
If he was
maybe Nike sponsors him because he doesn't have a sponsor right now. So maybe they're like, yo, wear red starting goosebumps. Sunday. Yeah, I got goosebumps too. Right. He's going to win. I might double up my bet.
All right. First round leader, Justin Thomas. Winner, Justin Thomas.
Wire to wire. All right, let's get into it. Who's got the order up there?
Oh, I do. I'm first, and I'm first with the first round flyer, Flying Embers.
No. Yes. No, it's Flying Embers first. Flying Embers, first round flyer.
First round flyer.
It's a lot. All right, here's what I'm going to do. And here's my reasoning. So far, it's probably our most challenging bet to win the first round leader. Because of that, I figured, screw it. I'm going to go with the guy that's got really long odds. So that way, if it wins, and this guy certainly can go low, I'll be that much more ahead of you chumps. So here's what I'm doing. This man is 6'2". I haven't said that height yet. He's 179 pounds, so he's a slender gentleman. He's 36 years old, turned pro in 2005, went to college at the University of Las Palmas. He's from Las Palmas, Spain. His name is Rafa Cabrera Bello. I saw odds for first round, which probably means you guys are even way better than this, of 90-1.
Oh, I believe that.
He's been playing pretty terribly. Let's be honest about it.
That
he had a performance
90-1.
He had a performance in on the European tour. I think he had like a top 5 recently.
Right. None of us saw that, but you. But he can certainly go low. We all know that he can. When he's on, he's really tough to beat. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he gets a little toasty. Maybe he likes the warm Florida weather. And he roasts some fairways and crushes me a nice 61 Thursday. There it is.
All right.
That's me.
Interesting. Freddie, who do you got?
My Flying Embers first round flyer. I am going Daniel the Furburger. Now I know I didn't really like him when he won 2 weeks ago.
Wow,
I think
okay.
he's boring. I don't really enjoy watching him play. I think that as a first round flyer at 33-1 coming into this spot, I think he's the guy to go with. And just for the note and the record, I am like 0-21.
As always, people, follow the grid. Don't follow our picks at the bottom of the grid. Those are just our individual picks.
Certainly
If you
don't
wanna make
follow
money,
Freddie's picks.
Follow the grid.
Excuse me. I'm going to turn it around. I'm just
Follow
on a
the
cold
grid.
streak.
I have faith in you, bro. You got this.
I hammered that Spieth bet you had last week. It was the biggest loss of the week was that Spieth bet.
If we only hit Justin and Bryson to miss the cut, we would have won a lot
Oh
of
my
money.
God, I would have got paid on that.
I sold that like a Ron.
You
I
did.
sold that.
Yeah.
You did.
All right, so I'm in between three guys. I like their odds. One's JT that we just talked about. I'm fired up for him this week. I really am. I don't know. I see things like this as an opportunity for guys to get their mind right, and just sometimes they need something to happen that just kind of resets them and gets them fired up. So he's one that I'm in between. I'm seeing him at 22-1 first round leader. Another one I like is Victor Hovland this week. He stats out really nice here. I was looking for guys that were good fairway guys, little mix of approach as well as good around the green, and he's one of those guys. And the other one is Colin Morikawa at 40-1 first round leader. I mean, these
Crazy.
guys are top-notch guys, all three of them. So, I mean, I could go with George's mindset of take the longer odds because they're hardest to hit, and why not?
Hey,
I
Ron,
think I like, yeah.
Victor Hovland and Rock, correct me if I'm wrong. He's not a good Bermuda putter. Is that correct? That's what kind of drove me away from him.
It's
Why-
funny
Wow.
how, it's
You don't
funny
say
how
that
you
thing.
said that with the
No, that's
can
good to
we-
know. I mean, he wasn't high on our Bermuda.
Well,
putting
he's not a
model, but
good putter. He's not a good putter in general. That's not
Don't
his strength.
these green complexes look pretty challenging too? So
Yeah.
this putting might come into play here, or that could mean that putting actually plays less of
Well-
a role because it's so hard.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Colin's sake, which he frustrates me putting and around the green. I mean, sometimes when he puts really well, Colin Morikawa.
He had
But
one day that
someti-
was god awful last week.
Oh yeah, and
my
like
God.
he switches his grip, and you're just like, "What are you doing?" It frustrates me. But I feel like every time he's off the green, it's a bogey. I've said that for years, and it just holds true. And unfortunately, I do see some around the green game, so I'm a little worried about Colin. I like him this week because I like his ability to ball strike. I like his ability to put it in the fairway and set himself up good positions. He may not be off the green too much, but that's what I was thinking about Colin. Let me look up Hovland here on Bermuda. Hovland, yeah, he's bottom of the barrel, almost the last.
because
in the
I
field,
looked
right
at
down there
him.
with Colin.
I looked at him too, Ron. I was really close to pulling the trigger with him, but the Bermuda putting was kind of what turned me off.
JT, Flying Embers, first round flyer, 22-1.
You know I love JT this week. I love what you just did right there. Let me just tell you another thing about JT. Birdie or better percentage. You know I love this when it comes to it's why I always love Sam Burns. I don't pick him last week when he gets first round leader.
Bombs
But-
over Baghdad.
It's bombs over Baghdad. Birdie or better. JT is number one in the field in birdie or better. So that's in the last, I think, 50 rounds.
Let's
or
also
36 rounds.
let's not forget that Justin Thomas is not the only person who idolizes or is a friend of Mr. Tiger Woods that's playing this weekend.
I'm not saying he is, but
No,
he
I know.
is.
But he
I
was
know.
in the
I'm
press
just-
conference. he
I'm
got
just
hammered.
saying, I know. I emotionally wise, we just saw his face get emotional and all that stuff, and we saw him get emotional about it. I'm just saying, we can get fired up about picks like we did with Phil Mickelson for certain reasons, and there might be more than one person with that same sort of motivation, just like Mr. Patrick Reed,
Did you?
who loves Tiger Woods so much he wears red on Sundays. you know.
That's interesting that you say that, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But the difference is Justin Thomas is arguably the best player in the world, and he
sure.
is
World
You
class.
know, one of his best friends
World-class
just plays
iron
with him.
play.
Of course,
Ralph Lauren does not
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, well,
All right.
Um,
Who do you like?
Wait, what were the odds on that, JT? Just want to put it on the board.
22.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do a new
Great bet.
thing.
It's a great bet.
I'm gonna copy off of ESPN's 30 for 30. What if I told you you could get the lowest scoring player on the PGA Tour in round 1 for first round leader at 33-1?
What? Ooh.
What if I told you
Who is it? Who is it?
George just mentioned his name and he's gonna wear red on Sunday? Patty Daddy.
He's the best first rounder?
Number 1 in scoring average on the PGA Tour so far this year. I think it's only 8 or 10 rounds or something. This year, he's also top 5 in birdies or better, bombs over Baghdad. He's Patrick Reed at a course that nobody knows. How do you not love Patty Daddy? 33-1?
Gotta love that.
Love it.
That's crazy.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Love it.
Patty Daddy.
Love it.
33-1.
A lot of
Rock,
listeners are gonna hate it.
Do you recall in your breakdown of the hole seeing more dog leg lefts and more drawable par fours?
Great question. Great question.
Drawable par 4s? What do you mean?
Just something that he can cut corners a little well because we know he loves that. He
hits the draw every shot.
I definitely felt like it favored the drawer. Yeah.
Ooh,
right.
The
I
right
like
to
that.
left.
I like
sexy,
that.
Sexy. All right.
So, but that also favors the left to right for Bubba, and it wasn't like drastic. I think shot shape. That's the shot shape.
All right, over to outright winner Frederic.
My outright, I am going with a fan favorite, Adam Scott.
I
Ball
like Scott here.
striking.
You
I
love the
do.
Aussies.
Striking.
We love
Simple,
Australia.
Simple,
We do.
standard game, but I think this
We
course is
love
gonna,
Australia.
I think this course can be played really, really difficult. And honestly, last weekend, I feel this is gonna sound absolutely bananas, and everybody might think this is nuts, but it played like Augusta last weekend. It was really like the vibe, the green, everything was like, you know how Augusta looks simple, like everything is like it's very subtle, and it plays so difficult. And yes, last weekend did that. I think this weekend is going to do the same. And I think Adam Scott has the game to fit that course.
It's the greens, man. Sometimes these greens are just so tricky and so hard to hold. And if you don't hit them in the right spot perfectly, you get absolutely screwed. So yeah, I agree that it did have that.
This
kind of
feels
feel.
like it's going to be that kind of course. There seems like there's a lot of like drop offs around the greens. So you're gonna have to be close.
To me, I was thinking more of like a U.S. Open type course. Like I could see them having a U.S. Open here. I definitely think last week played like Augusta, and it had that major feel to it, like coming down the stretch and the whole, you know, Finau and DJ's threatening and Burns can't hang on and like all that. It had all that
Poor
energy.
Burns.
Oh man, yeah, that was hard to watch. I don't know how he ever gets on the winning circle again. I'm not gonna bet him for a while.
Speaking of Aussies, very, very quick note here. My cousin, Aussie, Scotty Young,
Awesome
opening
golfer.
up a sick golf studio on Park Avenue in New York City. So swing coming to you soon. We're gonna get Scotty on here soon.
Swing with 2 S's in the beginning. Swing.
Yes. He was a PGA professional. He was on the Hooters tour back in the day from Australia. Now lives with my cousin and their family in Connecticut. But awesome, dude. We're going to get him on here. So swing, look for it. If you're in the city, stop by Park Avenue. The setup looks absolutely amazing. You can look it up on Instagram under swing. He's showing a lot of the construction going on right now. Should be open soon.
If you want to improve your confidence of your game and your scores, he is the guy to go to. Trust us on that one. Who's
Awesome.
up?
I am up. So I kind of talked myself into this with the help of you guys with the Bermuda putters, because let's face it, if a guy is terrible on Bermuda, I don't want him at all. Flat, plain and simple.
Yep.
So I do remember seeing a lot of things that I liked with Harris English in the model. As far as that around the green, he was, I think, in the top 10, or if not close to that, in Bermuda putters, maybe around 7, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got a combination of everything this week at 40-1. I like the odds there. based on our models, that's some good value. So I'm going to go at Harris English at 40-1 outright.
Ron, me and you, I think we're on the same page in our brains. I was looking all at Harris English and Victor Hovland. I was all over everything you're looking at. I like it.
It's a sign.
All right,
And
Rock.
I'll
It's a
throw this-
sign you're gonna. It's a sign you're gonna go in over.
I'll throw it. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I haven't fucking won an individual bet in like 5 tournaments, but again, follow the model, people. Follow the model. Follow the grid, the betting grid.
Great.
By the way, when I'm in the process of making hats for right now, we just have these two that Ron and I are wearing. But when we make hats and swag, I think follow the model needs to be a T-shirt or something.
I like
that.
that's
On the back.
great.
Follow
On the back
model.
or on the side.
Big boy golf, follow the model. Come on.
That's
I
great.
like it. I
That's
like
good.
it.
It's good.
Really
Just
quick.
so our-
Really
just
quick.
so our listeners know, we created this podcast just so we can make hats. That's literally all we
Yeah.
created.
We
Pretty much.
love hats. Love
Yeah.
hats.
That's not too far from the truth. Speaking about Hovland, something that I liked a lot. His last 2 tournaments, he was T2 and T5. He was T2 at Farmers, I believe, and then T5 his last tournament. So I mean, he's
Wow.
playing well. So I
I
do
was on
like
him at
him.
Farmers.
I know, I do like him, but it
By the
hurts
way,
that
he
he's bad
won
for me to
4
better.
tournaments ago. He won the OHL in December.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah.
Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Just look at it.
Just look at it.
All right, Rock.
I like that pick, Ron. I like how English is another guy. He's getting he's playing so well, and then he missed a couple cuts, and all of a sudden everybody's like off Harris English. But I'm going Justin Thomas. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think he's going to win. I know I went with him last week, and it was the worst performance ever, but he's too good not to bounce back. And at 20-1, I just see so much value there. I see a lot of value in Morikawa. I see value in Bryson. I see value in Terrell Hatton, who's been hot fire. But I'm going with JT, especially after today. I fully agree. We talked about it. JT all day. Come on.
He grew up in Florida. He went to Florida State University. His game has been coming up and up and up and up the last year. Before that, he was utterly dominating the PGA. Weighing in at 205 pounds in the blue corner at 6 foot tall, Brooks Koepka. I see him at 28-1, which probably means that you guys see him at like 30 or 35-1.
No, that's actually good.
Yeah.
You got 28? Great. I
I
think
don't
that's
even think I had that
disrespectful,
high.
honestly. I mean, if anyone's trending in the right direction and has the win equity, it is Brooks Koepka right now. The man can crush the ball. He also is insanely good at approaches. He putts well. He's got all the right tools, obviously, to win here. That's my horse.
I like it. I think we're
Second
gonna have
week in
that
a row,
major
by the way.
feel. Yeah, I like it. We're gonna have that major feel, and I see him at 33-1 now on DraftKings. So that's good value. Nice.
If we get 2 tournaments back to back that have major fields, I mean that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
well, this is a
year-
WGC. It's worth more money. It's worth more FedEx points.
And
It's-
I think this is going to be a lot different than last week. This is a week where I do think you see a lot of big names and a lot of just a lot of very good talent towards the top the whole way through. So
Just
I
like
think
Sanjay M, I just bought a house in Florida, so I'm really gonna want to go play some golf this weekend. Doesn't make any sense. It's not
that
related at
takes
all.
us into our value picks.
Thank you.
I will start with the value. There was a specific guy on the model that jumped off because his odds were insane. Honestly, I've never heard of him until Rocky said that he was coming off. Was it a win, did you say, or a really good performance? I don't even know how to say his last name, if I'm being honest. It's
Wow.
R-A-I. Is it
Oh.
Ray? Is it
Yeah,
Aaron
I think
Ray?
it's pronounced Ray. Yep.
So in the model, very good stats. I think the one that stood out the most, if you have the stats in front of you for the tournament, Rock,
I can pull them up.
pull them up for me. I think he was either
Who is
one
this
or
guy?
two.
His name's Aaron Ray. He plays on the European Tour. He won. I'm trying to find
Oh,
where
he's
he
Have
sixth.
we
won.
ever
Sixth in
on the
fairways game.
podcast had someone pick somebody that they can't say their name? I think it's the
I
first.
I mean,
I
do it.
think
I do it all the
George
time.
mispronounces everybody's name every week.
Yeah, I
so.
pretty much do it all the time. Ron,
He
look,
won the
his numbers are pretty
Aberdeen
impressive.
Standard Investments Scottish Open.
4 people played there.
No, there
Was
were
that
some good players.
Was
Tony
Dan
Finooey
Marino's
played there.
brother in that too?
AV Dan Marino's brother.
Yeah, Tony finished second.
I think Tony did. I'm not even
Oh
lying.
no, I was joking.
Oh no.
Stop. Are you serious?
If
I don't
you're
know. I gotta look
Rock,
it up.
if you're
Ugh.
looking at the stat model, I wanted to say he was top 5 or he was very high in a few categories that really popped out, and there were categories that I was looking at. It was either fairways gained or approach or around the green.
6th in fairways gained, 14th in par 3s, 200, 225,
Boom.
14th in par
Boom.
5s, 550 to 600.
Yeah.
I mean, those are great numbers for the odds that he have. I'm getting him at plus 300 top 30. So in a field of only 70 something guys, he's just got to crack the top half just pretty much. And he's plus 300. So I love that. And that's going to be my pick for the pod. I'm also going to do a value pick of Morikawa top 10 at plus 335 because I think that's insane value. Rock, I totally agree. To get half the odds of somebody to win outright and only have to finish top 10 is great.
Hang on a second. You're
can you
taking
explain
2? You
what's
can't
going
take 2. What's happening?
He's just telling you what.
I'm just saying I love to
It's
value
allowed.
picks a lot.
It's allowed.
The one for the pod
That
is going to
wasn't
be
a-
the
that
Aaron
wasn't a-
Ray top
that wasn't-
30.
You know
That
what?
wasn't
You know how insane of a segue that is. I already have it highlighted. Morikawa top 10, 3.2 to 1. That's
Wait.
my guy.
All
Value
right,
pick.
We gotta slow down. What were Ray's odds?
Plus 300 top 30.
That's ridiculous. It's a great deal. By the way, when he won just a few months back, he beat the European Tony Finau
Fleetwood?
What does that mean?
he beat Fleetwood in a playoff. I love that you guys knew that. I'm like teaching you so much.
One of the
I
prettier
like all
swings
these-
out there. You gotta love some Tommy.
Hey, he's playing this week, and they're
Did
not.
you ever see
respecting him.
Did you ever see the picture of him without a beard?
Is it weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like looking at one of those hairless cats.
Oh no.
It's like super weird. Yeah,
That's such a good way
Yeah.
of putting it.
like you're just staring at it like uncomfortable. Doesn't even look like him.
Interesting. Well, I hope he has a beard this weekend. Okay, so then my pick, we already know it. It's Morikawa top 10. That's really crazy, Ron.
I'm betting it. I'm betting both, but it's Aaron Ray for my pick.
I'm
but
betting
both.
that as well.
I love
I mean,
Colin top 10.
We've been talking about looking, go by the model, and Morikawa is number 1 in the model. So to get him top 10, 3.5 to 1, it's crazy. I'm taking that all
Straight
day.
out of California.
And I'm going to throw this in again. I'm probably going to take Harris English top 10 too. And that's plus 350.
All right.
Bonnie
I'm
picked
just
the
I'm
field.
throwing out value.
Calm down.
Dude, I hope people are
You're
listening. 'cause I'm
freaking
throwing
out.
out value everywhere.
You're
everywhere.
freaking out.
All right, that is all.
All right, Freddie.
All right. We already talked about this person. I'm not going to give a big rant about it. Patrick Reed, top 10 plus 300. Read him and weep.
Wait, did anybody take him to win? No, right?
Rock did.
I'm kind of shocked.
Rock
I
did?
have
No,
a
I didn't.
feeling
I
we're
took
gonna
him
see
first
him.
Flyer?
round leader.
I have
Yeah.
a feeling we're going to see him on the grid.
I mean, him
He's
and
already
Webby,
on the grid. I didn't bet him
Yeah.
yet, but he's on the
him,
grid.
him and Webby. Like, how do you not take both those guys? It's crazy.
Dude, Webb stats out amazing here. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a Bermuda putter to start with, but his
Mhm.
his numbers and fairways and approaches and freaking around the
Freaking
green. like,
sweetheart.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't understand when the field is only 72 people and you have the number 9 player in the world playing in the field of 72 people, and there's a lot of chumps. I mean, there's a lot of great players. The best players in the world are here, but there's a lot of chumps, and he's 30 to 1.
Doesn't
Like,
make
that
any
doesn't
sense.
seem right.
No, he
Morikawa's-
definitely got disrespected here.
Morikawa, same thing, 46.5 to 1. I saw.
You know what? That's a great point. And this actually highlights the fact that golf, of any sport that we've gambled, golf has the most opportunity, as far as I'm concerned. When you know what to look for, there's just crazy opportunity almost every weekend for dudes that really are amazing at winning to get equity.
That reminds me of something that I wanted to say earlier. Going down the final stretch on Sunday, as I'm staring at DraftKings and watching the odds just fluctuate
Oh.
insanely.
Oh, I got to tell you my story.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, why not? And you can't do this every week. It's going to depend on how things are shaking out. But if I followed and played my cards correctly, I probably could have gotten everybody in the top 5 or 6, which included Homa, at better to 20-1 at one point. They were, except for Burns. Burns was a heavy favorite, but I didn't like Burns. I didn't like Burns at even 200.
He just felt like he was going to falter.
You knew he was. You knew he was. He
Wait,
got
you
out to
talking
too hot
about
of a
like
start.
in between each round?
No. So as holes go on, like if a
Live.
guy hits it into the woods,
wow.
all of a sudden his odds go down like, from 10-1 to 15-1. It fluctuates so much per swing that if you are patient and a guy doesn't run away with it, there's going to be ebbs and flows. You could get these guys. I think Homa dropped back to 20 or 22-1 halfway through Sunday. And, and that's when I texted you guys, I'm doubling down on Homa.
Yeah.
Because you knew he was still going to be in the mix. He just happened to have a couple bad holes. And it's amazing how far down their odds drop. And that goes to what you said, George. There is so much value if you could find it, because it does. It pops up just like that. And then literally 2 swings later, he'll go from 22-1 back down to 6-1.
My issue with hedging or betting that late is there's only 8 9-hole periods in a tournament, right? So a lot can happen in that last 9 holes. And so it's like, I'm for me, if I start betting before those last 9 holes, I start, all of a sudden I'm going to have so many units wagered that I'm not going to win any units.
You can't really do both. You can't really do both. But
you can't go big and then
Correct.
try to cover your bets and all that stuff.
Correct. But if there's 5 guys you like and you haven't really, put your foot on anybody yet up until that point, maybe you're just
100%.
doing matchups or you're maybe doing top 20s. I'm telling you, you can grab 5 names, all 15-1 or higher, that all have a shot, and then all of a sudden one of them hits and you have a nice little
and
payout.
it really pays
if you save your bullets in your
it
cartridge.
pays to save the bullets. Yeah, I agree. But let me tell you what happened to me. So I have recently switched to internet TV, and because of that, there's a slight delay from what's really happening. And if I look at the odds, I can almost tell from the odds before I'm seeing what's happening. What's going to happen?
Something bad's about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Homa's coming down the stretch on 18, Finau has a wedge in. He's up 1, or no, he's tied. He's tied with Homa. He has a wedge in and he hits it in the rough, right? I'm like, what a Finooey move that is. Then he chips it and he makes the putt. He pars. Okay. Now Homa's behind him. He has a wedge in. He sticks it to 3 feet 4 inches. I immediately had this feeling like, geez, he could miss this, and we go to a playoff, and Burns is behind him, and Burns could birdie, and it could be a 3-way playoff. I got 101 units here. I gotta look to hedge just before this putt. So I go to hedge. I was gonna bet Finau. 33-1. Because if Homa makes the putt, he wins. It's a 3-foot putt. So basically they're saying 33-1, he makes his putt. I'm like, I'm putting 2 units on this, 100%. Like, that gets me 66 units to cover my, and then I win either 101 or 66 or a 99 or 66, basically. I go to bet it. It goes dark. I can't bet it. I'm like, why can't I bet it? I try to bet it. I'm like, well, I'm texting
because he already missed it.
He had already missed it. I was delayed watching the thing.
Wow.
So now, hold on. So now I'm like, mother effer, I could have hedged there. So I'm talking. I called Freddie. We're talking about how stressful this is. Now we go to the playoff. Homa hits it behind the tree. Now I'm like, if I can get even money, I'm taking Finau. That was long gone. Finau was minus 800 if I wanted to take him. So you could have taken Homa. He was like plus 750 or something like that.
That would have been the smart move right there.
Behind the
we all
tree.
know Finau.
I thought about it, but then it goes dark. I'm like,
this is exactly what I'm talking about. The swings of odds
I was
in golf
delayed.
tournaments is absolutely absurd.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, this week was crazy. And then on 14, it was fluctuating too, because remember, with the second playoff hole, Finau hit it in the bunker, and then Homa was a huge favorite, and then Homa missed the putt, and then Finau was a favorite again. Like, it was crazy swings. But
that's wild.
I'm so happy you didn't hedge.
I know. I wound up not betting
You're
anything.
not a hedger. You're not a hedger. I'm a hedger, but I know you're not.
But if I can get 33-1 on a hedge, like that's
But
a
think
no-brainer.
about what Ron's saying. Ron's saying that, if you, let's say you don't want to, maybe you don't want to put up enough money to bet, 15 guys before the tournament starts. And maybe you don't want to
100%.
bet 10 different guys for top 10s and top 5s and whatever. And you just kind of want to maybe bet one dude, 2 or 3 dudes, whatever, pre-tournament. And then you want to just sit and wait and watch golf and really get into it on Sunday at the home stretch. There's still tons of value to be made there, as long as someone's not running away with it, obviously.
I got Berger at Pebble the other week. I want to say there was only 3 holes left. I got him at like 250.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I mean, he obviously had his shit together. He was playing so much better than most guys there. There was only 1 or 2 others that maybe had a shot, but you just kind of felt like he was going to close that thing out. And I'm like, I'll take 250 all day. Plus
the trick there, which is something that I'm an emotional dude. All 4 guys on this podcast know that. So I can get a little too emotional about bets sometimes and just like feel like, oh my, I get like too excited or whatever about certain things. But if you can stay sort of calm and cool and collected and really think through what makes the most sense with the odds that you're getting on those live bets, there's a lot of opportunity there.
I also think from a betting standpoint, the key is identifying the value. It's like DJ could come out and win this week at 6.5 to 1. He 100% could totally win that. He could just bug out and win. He has the most world golf championship wins of anybody other than Tiger, I think. So, he could win, but is there really value at 6.5 to 1? Like if he comes out and bugs out and wins, take all. But I don't know. I think it's identifying the value. I love live betting. But let's finish this up. Freddie, did you pick your value? What was your value?
Patrick Reed, top 10. Plus
Okay, what are the odds on that?
Plus 300.
Okay.
Uh,
I'd rather take him to win there, honestly.
Yeah, I like
Tell me how you really feel.
like top 10. I like top 10. Are we done with value or is somebody else?
No, I got to go real quick. My value, I'm sick and tired of not taking advantage of it, and this will probably be the week it won't hit, but screw it. 3.5 to 1. Tony Finooey, top 5. I'm tired of it. He top 5s every freaking week.
I don't love those odds, though. I don't
top
love
5,
that.
bro. It's
3.5.
almost
Because he does it every week. That's why the odds
does
are
it
so bad.
in full fields.
He's 100% that
He
bet
does-
the
he
last
does
5
top
tournaments.
10. He
Listen.
has 37 top 10s.
This is against everything I believe in because he also sucks on Bermuda. Well, it's his worst surface, but he's Tony Finau. He just does it. I'm tired of I want to get paid.
This is a great course for him. It's a great course for him. He's number 1 in those long par 5s. I think he's also, or maybe it's the long par 3s. He stats out great here. Obviously, like he stats out great everywhere. Yeah. He's number 1 in par 5s, the long par 5s. He's number 6 in approach. He's number 5 in 150 to 175 proximity. He's number 7 in par 3.
All right.
The long
He's
par
a
3s.
stat stud.
He's a beast.
All right. He's a monster.
And Rock, like you said, there's tons of sand on this course, and he's 6th in sand saves, which you wouldn't necessarily know about Tony, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Boys, pick for the people. Pick for the people for Twitter world and Facebook, Instagram.
I'm either on Reed or Webb. Those are my 2 options.
I'm on both of them as well.
I'm on Justin Thomas.
Let's
Tiger.
go. I think there's a lot of interest surrounding JT this week. I think we got to make him one of them.
All right, that's fair. So then
I'll go Justin Thomas on Twitter.
So then we pick
And
one.
I think we should donate some winnings to the Tiger Woods Foundation for JT.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know who else has a lot of value here is Jason Day. Rock, I know you don't love his win equity, but I mean he's also been playing better and better the last
Great
6
sand
months or
player.
so. He's a great sand player. I mean, he's got distance, obviously. As long as he can keep his driver semi, straight, he can be right there.
I worry about his approach game on a course like this, but
Yeah.
that's just me. You love Jason Day. You bet him every
I do. I
week.
love Australia. He's 45 to 1. Webb and Reed are both 30 to 1. As mine, your odds are probably a little bit better than that. So I'm fine with any 3 of those guys. Who do you guys
want to go? You want to go
Justin
Webby?
Thomas, Twitter.
Okay, you want to go Webby on the Insta Facebook?
Yeah, we love Webb. Let's go Webb.
And let's do. I'll do a JT bet for the Tiger Foundation. I'll do
I
that.
like it. I like
As
it. So we got
always,
10
as always, to everybody in the golf world. What were you gonna say, Freddie?
No, I was just gonna break down the bets. So $10 for the people on JT. What do you know JT's odds?
20
to
to
win?
1. 20 to 1.
All right, so $200 to anybody that retweets on Twitter. George has Instagram, which is what? What, Rock? What? I see your face.
It's not $200 to everybody that retweets. It's to somebody. We'll pick a winner.
I
If he
can't
wins,
get the
we'll
wording
win.
right.
That's
I can't.
fine.
Thank God we
The
haven't
wording's
won.
very very important in that scenario. Otherwise, we'd be broke.
One lucky winner will win on a retweet of one retweet. to the
Only
winner of the
if
wins.
Justin
if
Thomas
they win
wins.
$200, we will win.
BBG picks.
BBG picks.
All right, boys. Love you.
All right.
BBG picks. Love you guys.